Hello everyone, welcome back to another season of Spilling Tea with the POC. I'm your host Jasmine Phipps, and welcome to season 2 where we're spilling tea in our 20s, because if you didn't know, I just turned 20 and I had to do it to them. I had to switch it up. This season is going to be filled with a whole bunch of different guests. Okay, so get ready for the guests, and it's gonna have a whole bunch of different types of episodes. So I hope you enjoy. I really took my time with this. Like I wrote a whole new season in the last 3 weeks because I just felt like I had to switch it up and talk about different episodes that kind of meant something to me. You feel me? But if you missed the last episode, or if you missed the whole entire last season, go ahead and click off this onto that and then click back onto this one. Thank you. But for now, grab your tea and get ready to spill into today's episode with me. Okay? Oh, and before we begin, make sure that you're following the official Spilling Tea with the POC Instagram at Spilling Tea with the POC. Okay. So this episode, the first episode of season 2, is Quarter Life Chronicles, Crisis Chronicles. So, hitting that 20s mark, that early 20s mark, because, I'm just 20, can be a whirlwind. It's like you're supposed to have your life together, quote unquote. You're halfway through college, maybe starting a job, living on your own. You're really you're an adult. You're an adult now, so it's just like you got to get it together. It's a weird time, but it's also a good time. It's like you may be navigating through friend groups, navigating through friendships, relationships. There's a looming pressure to have everything figured out. But let's be real, many of us are unsure about our life's direction, and I've been there. I'm there right now. You're not alone. Trust me. This is the time in your life where you're supposed to figure out who you are. And so it's okay to not have everything figured out. And it's also okay to make mistakes, because this is the time when you are supposed to make those mistakes, This phase in our life is often, it can be themed, the theme of this episode, quarter life crisis. You're 20, a quarter in, and it's like, you've gotten to the point where, yes, okay, so many of us may be in college. We may have this job that we're getting, these internships that we're getting, but it's just, there's something missing, It's a time of introspection, questioning, and sometimes a lot of anxiety. But it's also a time for growth and discovery and finding oneself. An important theme for me in 2024 is figuring out who I am, what I want out of relationships, out of friendships, out of, just life, and putting myself first. I know I talked about this a lot in the last season, but really digging deep and putting myself first and figuring out who Jasmine Phipps is, Oh my gosh, I don't even know where. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay. I'm looking at my notes. College is where you find yourself. It's not necessarily about the classes you take. It's not necessarily about, college, those classes are important, but if you ever realized, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't really learn in the classroom. I learn outside of the classroom. I learn how to navigate life. Like, college is teaching me how to navigate life according to what I want out of life. Like, I'm the type of person, I like a routine. I'm just, a routine type person. And so I have all these set goals for myself outside of just getting a degree that I know I want to accomplish and I need to accomplish in order to feel satisfied in life. So, one way I plan on navigating this time of crisis, and don't get me wrong, like, these past couple of weeks, I've been going through it. When I tell you I've been going through it, I have not been able to wake up. Like, if anybody knows me, I'm a morning person. It's been very difficult for me to wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. It's been very difficult for me to want to get out of bed. It's been very difficult for me to just even simply do the things that make me happy. For instance, like deep clean my room every single day. I used to deep clean my room, no joke, in September. Like the first couple weeks I was living there. Maybe it was just because I didn't have anything to do. Let's be real. But I was really deep cleaning my room. I was making sure that I had this routine. I was waking up every day at the same time, and now sometimes I can just only do it 2 times a week, and that is okay. Sometimes we have to realize that we have to take a step back and, put our mental health and listen to our bodies. Like if your body's telling you, hey, maybe you just need those 2 hours of sleep, go ahead and get those 2 hours of sleep, sis. Or, my bro, it's kind of weird. I don't really be saying that, but, get those 2 hours of sleep because, college isn't easy. Life isn't easy, and time keeps going. So yes, give yourself that time to relax a little. Give yourself that time to fix whatever you're going through and process whatever you're going through, and then you can get back up and be stronger in the next 2 weeks. It's like one way I plan on navigating through this time of crisis is romanticizing my life. You see it on TikTok, you see it on Pinterest, but really becoming my Pinterest board. I really want to put myself first. One of my goals, and I wrote this in my, I have a notebook, guys. Well, everybody knows I have a lot of notebooks. But Steve Harvey says to write 300, I tried, Steve Harvey, if you're listening, not gonna lie, 300 things is a lot. It really is a lot. So I am writing over 100 things that I want to accomplish this, in these next couple years. And one thing for me is just, I think the one thing I do a lot is try to get into, or not even get into, but I tend to, when a dude tries to talk to me, and this is for my ladies listening, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to talk to them because I'm bored. And then boom, it's like their life is I'm consumed. My life is consumed with everything they're doing. And even with friends, some friends, it's just their life is so hectic, and what they're going through is so hectic that it's consuming your life. And it's like there's no balance. The important thing to, when you're growing up is to find balance in friendships and relationships. And one goal of mine is to stay out of a relationship till I'm around 23, because I know deep down I'm not ready for a relationship. Hey, if, I start building a relationship and you see me in a relationship when I'm 22, be quiet and shut your mouth. You feel me? That was God's plan. It wasn't mine. You feel me? It was God's plan. So he sent me, a beautiful chocolate man. He sent me a beautiful chocolate man. But really putting myself first and figuring out everything I want in a man, everything I want out of life. One thing about me is I'm not ever going to put my goals aside to and focus solely on somebody else, because I know that I am the person writing these chapters in my life. I'm the person writing these chapters in this book of my life. So it's important to, be that girl who you want to be, who's on your vision board. If anybody knows me, I love creating vision boards, and the new year is coming up. Make sure that you create a vision board, because I don't think people understand how important having something visual is, because if you look at it every day, you read it every day, writing, I can make thousands and thousands of vision boards. But my thing is, I need to read this list every single day so that it reminds me of why to keep going. So that when I am demotivated or not as motivated, demotivated. I don't know if that's a word. Sorry, I don't know. Is that a word? Was the crickets going on this whole time? I'm so sorry, bro. But going out to dinner with friends, making sure that I make time for things that, you are only in college one time, you're only in your 20s once, making sure that I make time to actually have fun as well, but balancing fun with work, with the expectations that I have set for myself, making sure that I'm balancing out my life, working out, posting it, capturing this time in my life is important to me. I want to be an influencer. I've worked very, very hard to post fitness content every single day. And so just keep going, even though your friends, one thing I've learned about posting content, and this is for all my girls who are, thinking about posting content or posting content, your friends are your friends are supposed to support you, quote unquote. But if it doesn't happen, if you don't see supporters, you never know who's watching one thing. That's the first thing. You never know who you're helping, whether they reach out or not. But it's important to keep going, whether you see that recognition or you don't. Because ultimately, being consistent is important because eventually you will see that recognition. And for me, it's been really hard because I have friends, or I don't really consider, you also have different friends for different reasons, but it's like, ultimately, when you're doing these different things that you want, you're doing them for you. You're not doing them to make somebody look at you different. And that's the problem with social media nowadays. It's just like, be you. Be real to yourself. Be true to yourself. And don't give a F about what anybody thinks. Post that content. Post that video. Post that picture. Because ultimately, you're going to look back in life and be like, dang, why didn't I post that? Why didn't I start a YouTube channel? Why didn't I start this? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do this? So I'm going to start cherishing these moments and putting myself first and doing whatever the heck I want because it's important to me. By romanticizing, your life, even if it's waking up at 8 a.m., you feel me? Making sure you have breakfast every single day, making sure you have lunch every single day, you will eventually find joy and start to appreciate this journey in your life, regardless of the destination. You feel me? It's important to keep going. I can't stress that enough. Like, yes, you're going to have great days. I have great days all the time, but I also have bad days. And with social media, it's kind of hard to see what people, the strongest people are definitely going through it. I can't stress that enough. But it's hard to see when people are down. You only really see people's successes because who's going to post their failures? Everybody's failing. Everybody's going through it. Everybody's got something that, they got to push forward and jump over. You're not alone. So if it may seem like somebody got their life together, 9 times out of 10, they probably don't. And stop comparing your life to other people's lives, because ultimately we're all writing a different book. We all have different chapters that we're, creating. Nobody's life is the same. Nobody's successes are the same. You are on the right path. You just have to keep going. So I just want to take a break. Hey, listeners, before we dive deeper into today's topic, I want to give a shout out to myself, of course. If you didn't know, I am a published author. And I republished my book recently. If you want to support a Black author, check out my book. It is available on Amazon, and it is also available at Barnes & Noble. Okay, now back to our discussion. And yes, I am reading notes. So, excuse me for that. Sorry. I will cut this part out. I will try to cut this part out. But if I've learned anything in these last couple of years, it's making sure that, your environment plays a significant role in your mental well-being. So let's talk about space. Making sure that whether it's your home, your workplace, your social circle is positive is important. I cannot stress this enough. I've been, all throughout high school, I definitely had my fair share of toxic friendships, weird friendships that probably weren't benefiting me, but I was just staying because I was comfortable and I also just wanted a friend. Your real friends are going to make sure that they are there no matter what. You also outgrow friends. I cannot stress that enough. You may have been close to somebody the first couple months of your friendship, but then something changes in their life, something changes, whether it's a relationship, whether it's them finding something else that they want to do in their life, and it changes the direction and it changes, their not their personality or something, but it's an addition to their identity that you never saw before. Eventually you outgo friendships. We can normalize that. It's normal. I know for me, I've struggled with finding friends. I've struggled with finding strong connections with people, but I do have quite a few strong connections with people. But it's also like, if your friends aren't being positive, if they aren't supporting you, if they aren't motivating you to be a better person, then you don't need to be around them. If they're creating this negative space, if they're, if it's a draining friendship, if you feel like it's always something new with them, something more like, more drama like that. They just have to, and you just can't take it. Let it go. And I know it's a lot easier said than done. Just trust me, I've been through it multiple times. And I still struggle with it. Even with guys in relationships, I try again till I physically cannot anymore. And it's like, let's let go before it gets to that point, because then you aren't as drained. Ultimately, you're in this life thing alone, and people come and go. Some people, it's also like realizing, what's his name? Tyler Perry says this. There are friends who are like leaves on a tree who move with the season. There are friends like branches on a tree. Eventually the branches will break off. And there's also friends who are like roots in a tree and they never leave. You're going to have very, 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 very few friends who are like branches on a tree. I mean, not branches on a tree, roots on a tree. So just making sure that you also have friends for different reasons. You have friends you go party with. You have friends who you talk to about business. You have friends who, you go to for emotional support. Just making sure that you differentiate your friends and make sure that you maintain that type of friendship with them and not, mix in the emotions with the friends you go party with making sure that you organize your friends in a way that, it's benefiting you is important, and it's okay to let people go. It's essential to create spaces that uplift and inspire you, because you are who you hang around. You are a product of what you keep surrounding yourself with. Don't be afraid to declutter, reorganize, or even distance yourself from negativity. I have learned that I love spending time with myself. I started doing it in high school. I didn't think it was going to be the same in college. I thought I was going to have, because I'm a very social person, but I also I like to be to myself too. Like, I do not mind spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours by myself, because I get more done and I feel better about my day when I'm getting things done. So it's just like finding that balance, going all the way back to balance. Also, making sure that you don't just let anybody in your space. Recently, I let somebody in my space who probably should have never been in my space, but it's also all a learning experience. I'm kind of getting tired of the learning experiences, Lord. But I know I got to keep going through them until I'm ready to be in a relationship. So just protecting your space and protecting your heart and protecting your mental well-being is important. It's okay to let go of people who are no longer serving your well-being. And there you have it. Navigating through a quarter life crisis isn't easy, but with the right mindsets and tools, you can turn it into a romantic period in your life. Ultimately, you are having a relationship with yourself. If you do not, and I will repeat this, and I've said this in the last season in a couple episodes, your most important relationship is with yourself. So take yourself on dates. Go work out. Go for walks, go for runs, shop a little if you're not a shopaholic like me, because baby, Lord knows I need to chill with the shopping. Find things that make you happy and do it. I know I love painting. I haven't painted in a long time. Me and Prague used to do it all the time. Finding things that make you happy and do them. Eating, going to taste different restaurants around, your college town. Do it. Okay? Let's start romanticizing this period of our life, because you're only in your 20s once. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. This show wouldn't really be, I don't know if it's a show, but this podcast would not be the podcast that it is without you listeners. And I just want to say thank you so much for supporting me. I have seen all the DMs. I have seen, whether it's from my personal page or my Spilling Tea with the POC page. Make sure you guys follow the official Spilling Tea with the POC page at Spilling Tea with the POC. Whether it's you leaving comments or saying hey, or coming to me in person like, hey, what's going on with the next episode, or where's the episode at? That really means the world to me, because it just shows me that, like, okay, what I'm doing actually is, benefiting other people. And it's not just, I'm not just out here recording and talking to myself, even though right now I am talking to myself. But until the next podcast episode, remember to Can you pause, please? Remember to embrace the journey, cherish the littlest moments, and always prioritize yourself. Thank you guys for listening to Spilling Tea with a POC podcast, and I will see you next time to spill into another episode with you or with me. I don't know, dang it. Thank you guys for listening.